Let's continue from where we left off. Now I'm going to be talking about the opacity of this clip. I'll select it and come up to my effect controls up here, and there you'll see I've got opacity, as we always have for every single type of clip. Well, I don't mean that we use opacity to fade it away, because all that's going to do in this case is show a percentage value of our clip, maybe 50% of it, but blended with whatever's below. So that's not exactly what I'm looking for. I'll show you what I mean. I'll reveal the opacity parameters, and you can see I've got my opacity set to 100%. Actually, just before we do look at that, notice down here we have this blend mode. If you are a Photoshop user, you'll probably know all about blending different types of clip, or rather, within Photoshop, different layers imposed on the same image. Well, here this blend mode works in pretty much the same way. Click on the drop arrow there, and then choose one of these. If I choose darken, for example, well, that sort of works with this, because we've got a blend of both clips. And it seems now that those three people walking across the rocks there are walking towards that hotel, which is right in the distance on the seafront. And this is only achieved by using this darken blending mode. Let's try the opposite. I'll drop down and choose lighten. Okay, so that's not quite as satisfactory. That doesn't quite work in the same way. It might be the effect that you are looking for, but in our example, it's not quite what I want. So I'm going to revert back to normal, meaning that video track 2 dominates video track 1 below. Okay, now getting back to opacity. If I drag this down, then we're not quite achieving what I want to achieve, because even though I take it right down, all I'm doing is making it invisible, meaning whatever's below on video track 1 now emerges and becomes dominant. So I'll take that back to 100%. That's not going to work for us. Perhaps if I come down to video track 1 and toggle this off so that we can't actually see video track 1, even if video track 2 wasn't there. Well, let me try the opacity once more. This time, rather than using the percentage number and dragging, I'll reveal the slider, and I'll drag it down from 100%, and as I drag it down, well, all I'm now doing is showing the black canvas behind. So again, not exactly what I'm looking for. This isn't the desaturated monochrome look that I want. So I'll revert back to 100%, and I'll come down to video track 2, because what we need to do with this monochrome filter, we need to duplicate our clip on video track 2. So what I could do is left click on it here and drag it up where there isn't a video track 3 at the moment, but because I am dragging it up and disengaging, then that will automatically create that new video track for me. Okay, so now what I need to do is make a copy of that clip, and I can do it by right clicking on it there and choosing copy, and then now because my CTI is at the beginning, I can use the shortcut Ctrl+V to paste in exactly that clip onto my video track 2. So now we do have two identical copies of that clip. However, because we have made a direct copy, both of these clips take on that black and white filter. While I don't want the black and white filter to be on the bottom clip, what I mean is the bottom of those two clips, the one on video track 2, I want that one to be in color. So with it selected, I can click on here to disengage the effect entirely, to bypass it. I'm not removing it, I'm simply bypassing it, although it would be just as well to remove it. But anyway, for our example, I will bypass. Remembering, of course, because it's on video track 2, we can't see the effect of that, i.e. it reverting back to being in color, because on video track 3, which takes precedence in the stacking order, well, that's still visible. If I toggle track 3 off, then it means that's invisible, and what is below it on video track 2 is what we see, i.e. our color clip version now. Okay, now I'll toggle that back on again so that we see video track 3 with the black and white effect still in place, and I'm going to adjust the visibility of track 3. Now just so that we can see things better at this screen size, I'll just drag this down and then I'll enlarge video track 3, and that's only because I can see this horizontal opacity line better. Well, now if I left click on this opacity line and drag down, you can now see by whatever percentage value, and this is around about 50%, you can now see that the colour bleeds through, shall we say, from the identical clip below. So we get a sort of more moody grey winter scene rather than the summer scene with those rich oranges and yellows. And all you would need to do, of course, is adjust the opacity to suit your eye. Okay, I'll finish up here then, now that we've seen a couple of tutorials talking about effects and stacking effects and visibility and essentially track management really.